Hello everyone, my name is Rose Kabemba, a life coach. Today I'm going to interview Mr. Mpasi on his book, Winning Attitude. The reason for this video today is to motivate and inspire people who are facing obstacles. I do believe that this book goes beyond motivating people who are only suffering with disease. If you follow the principles laid out in this book, they will help you overcome any obstacle. So welcome, Mr. Pasi. Thank you so much for allowing me to come here and interview you on your inspiring, amazing book, Winning Attitude. I was really inspired and I felt that everybody needs to read this book or hear about this book.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, thank you
very
so much allowing me to come and be part of my journey. So I just want to find out what motivated you to write the book.
Of course, it all began with this diagnosis when I was diagnosed with prostate cancer way back in 2011. And we were living in Sydney, Australia at that time. And when I was told that I had prostate cancer, of course, the first reaction you can imagine was I was devastated. I was absolutely scared to death. And for the first 6 days, I was sure that I was going to die sooner rather than later, actually. And then so happened that on the morning of the 6th day, 3 o'clock in the morning, because I could hardly sleep. And so 3 o'clock in the morning, I was wide awake, staring at the ceiling. And I began to ask myself questions about who exactly am I? What am I doing here? 14,000 kilometers away from home. And one of the answers that really spoke to me was I was a coach, I was a life coach. And I had clients, and I'd helped a lot of them. And so they were coming back to me saying, hey, Mr. Pasi, you actually made a huge difference in our lives, but especially when we're saying that it's not so much in this life what happens to you, but rather how you choose to respond to what happens to you. And
Definitely.
then that actually lighted a bulb in my brain, in my mind, and I said to myself, I've been running with fear away from something I can't run away from for the last 5 days. And I've been allowing fear to run my life, to dominate my thinking. And already I was getting more and more scared by the minute, feeling more nervous, feeling more anxious, feeling more worried, and it was affecting my thinking as well. Because here I was facing a new threat to my life, and I was blocking my thinking by entertaining fear. So I then decided, well, what is the opposite of fear? The opposite of fear is faith. For me at that point. And so I said, no, I'm going to decide to focus on positively responding and dealing with this issue. I knew it wasn't going to be easy. As a life coach, I knew it wasn't going to be easy. But that I had capacity, especially that I had been thinking about a program. I'd come up with a program that I was writing an outline about one, which I called Connecting with the Leader in You. And there were certain, principles that I put down in the book. I mean, in planning the program. And I said to myself, wow, isn't this an opportunity to use these principles to deal with my own situation?
Wow,
And
that is...
so the principles of that coaching program that I was working on are the principles I put in the book in the end.
Okay.
You know, and of course,
Okay.
because I was now, as much as possible, starting to think on a positive note, and I began to be more creative. So I said, I've always wanted to write a book.
Okay.
Is this not an opportunity for me to do so and share my experiences with people out there?
Okay.
You know,
I like that so much. So the diagnosis actually gave birth to this book.
it did.
It started with fear.
It did, yeah,
Because
yeah.
everybody starts with fear. I mean, I can imagine, cannot even imagine how it feels like to be told that you have cancer stage 4. And the panic that you talk about, lack of sleep, but the turnaround that you realize that no, I have something in me that can make my life worthwhile, and I can, it's just a typical example that, we can use the negative in our lives to create positive.
Absolutely.
If we are really focused.
Absolutely. In fact, I mean, I've come to believe now that nothing negative happens in our lives without there being, on the other side of the negativity, something positive.
Wow.
But you have
like
to look
that.
for it.
Wow. I
You have
like
to search
that.
for it.
I like that. And I love the way you say you have to look for it, because people, most of the time, they just stop on the negative. They don't give themselves opportunity to go and look for what could be the lessons in what they are experiencing. Also spoke about self-belief and confidence. How does one cultivate self-belief and confidence, especially when you are facing adversity? How do you cultivate such, and how do they help in a journey to come to the other side?
For me, it just came out of, because I was already involved in personal development as a life coach, and I knew that something that I'd learned in my coaching, as I started my coaching course in Australia, something that came out still stays with me very strongly, is that what you focus on expands, you know?
Yes.
And if I focus on something positive, I knew by then that initially, it might appear as if I'm lying to myself if I kept on saying positive things. But eventually,
Yeah.
I will connect with that. My mind, my subconscious mind, more specifically, will begin to believe that, because I understand that we have a conscious mind, a subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind is it doesn't know distinguish between what's real and what's unreal. It simply relies on what you tell it.
Yeah.
And so I was convinced already by then that if I only take the courage to focus and talk to myself positively and focus on positive things and have a positive attitude, as I communicate with people, and realize also that God had given me this life. I was not dead yet.
Yes.
This was just a cancer diagnosis. But each moment that I live, if I could focus on being present to that moment and say, this is my moment. I'm alive. And because I'm alive, let me make the best of this moment. Because somehow I got to thinking, as I'm sitting here and thinking about this, somebody else, someone out there is involved in an accident and dies.
Exactly.
And they died before me.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And yet, I was really trying to allow fear to control my life and to be so scared. And as Shakespeare says, I think it in Julius Caesar or something, that cowards die many times before
For the
the
real
actual
death.
death, you know. So it's about the present moment. It's about saying, this is the gift of life that I have. Let me make the best of it. So I was saying to myself, even if I die next week or next month or next year,
Yes.
it doesn't matter. Before then, what kind of life am I choosing to live?
Wow.
That's the important thing, because each one of us in the end dies.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly,
Yeah.
That is powerful. That is so great.
Yes.
As I read your book, I also saw that you were influenced by a book called How to Fight Prostate Cancer and Win. How did that book influence the way you thought and added to your healing?
Well, I mean, as a background to that is the fact that when I decided I was going to fight this cancer with a positive mindset as much as possible, then I began to say, how do I connect with people who have gone through this and have won?
Okay.
And have overcome it. So I went on the internet. You know, with the internet, it's everything. You type something in there, and thousands of answers come out.
Yes.
So I began to, this person after that person. I said, so I'm on the right track, you know?
Yeah.
And then I extended that to, let me visit bookshops because I love reading.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And also see whether I can find books by people who have gone through this and succeeded and overcome the challenge.
Okay.
And so that's how I came across the book.
Okay. What is it in the book that really inspired you?
Well, his number one focus was mindset.
Okay.
He said everything begins with your mind.
Yes.
How you choose to think. It doesn't matter what problem or challenge it is. You know, if you choose, if you choose to think positively as a result of that, yes, it's a challenge.
Yes.
Initially, it throws you back.
Yes.
But after a short while, as short a time as possible, begin to think of how you can positively respond to that. And in fact, it reminds me of another book that I'm reading now. It's called Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, by Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich, and also he wrote this book together with W. Clement Stone.
Okay.
It was this W. Clement Stone who had a philosophy, and every time he got some bad news, some negative information, in fact, whether negative or positive, his first response is, that's good.
Okay, that's good. I will also learn to say that.
To say that's good, right? And like, for instance, I think, if I remember very well, he was told his daughter was involved in an accident, right? And his first response was, that's good. And people were saying, how can this man say this when... And then his mind switched on to think of, okay, what could be good about this? And probably one of the first things that he thought was, my daughter got involved in an accident, but he's not dead. He's alive.
Yeah.
You know? And so that opened up a trend of positive things with her. I mean, with him in terms of his daughter. And probably the next thing you might have said was, I think after she's come out of hospital, I want to go on holiday with her, whatever it is.
Okay.
You know, think of,
you know, what are the
trigger off a train of positive thoughts.
Make
from a
your
negative
mind
situation.
to be biased on the positive.
Yes.
That is
and once again,
wonderful.
remembering, as I said at the beginning, that every situation has got two sides, the good and the bad. Behind the bad, there's some good.
Okay. Okay. That is wonderful.
Yes.
I think people should be looking for that good in life. Yeah. So I just want you to just tell us briefly, how long was your treatment and what methods were used?
My treatment took 18 months.
Okay.
And during those 18 months, my life was completely transformed in terms of my lifestyle. But also, of course, the treatment that we are talking about. I decided, because my wife was studying natural health. That's why we'd gone out there to Australia, and my daughter was also studying natural health. And I already had been exposed to natural health for quite a while, and so I believe that natural health had a part to play in giving us a healthy lifestyle.
Okay.
And so while I worked with the conventional medical side, I had an oncologist. Of course, I was consulting with my doctor. I was also consulting with natural health practitioners. I had a naturopathy, I had a homeopath, and I had an integrative doctor that I worked with. And so
the
combination
Okay.
it gave me the confidence to say to me, okay, I mean, I've been told it was from the natural health, from the conventional health part that I was told I'm diagnosed with cancer and whatnot. And so obviously I worked with an oncologist, and they gave me the different options: chemotherapy, radiation therapy, and operation and whatnot. But I opted for radiation therapy.
Okay.
And also what they called hormonal therapy.
Okay.
Yes, because my prostate cancer is a hormonal.
So as you are talking, I hear that you were given a lot of options. Now, what can you say about getting information about your own disease?
Extremely important. It's the number one thing. After having your mind in the right place, the next thing is you have to be informed about your situation. So find out as much as possible about how this kind of health problem, how it manifests itself, the different causes and whatnot.
The different
And
treatments.
And just being informed about, because I always say that between ignorance and knowledge, go for knowledge anytime. So choose knowledge. Once you have a problem, a challenge, choose knowledge. Go on the internet. I mean, we are so fortunate in this day and age that you go to the internet, everything is there. So look for information. And of course, if you love reading as I do, look for books that talk about that. And you find that you are surrounding yourself with friends. You are surrounding yourself with the right kind of people who are going to help you to deal with your challenge, to understand your challenge a lot more. And I also believe that the more you think about something, especially in a positive way, the more you attract forces and situations and even events and even people to come into your life and to make some input that's going to help you to deal with that challenge.
As you said before, that whatever you focus on
expands.
Absolutely. Okay.
Absolutely.
So if you focus on the disease itself, you get more sick. But when you focus on the health, on the healing, that's what you get. Wow, that is so wonderful. So, what have you learned about yourself in this journey?
I've learned a
lot. Can you just give us a few things?
It's the most powerful lesson in my entire life. Going through this cancer journey, because it has changed my perspective completely. The way I look at life is so different. And the way I look at challenges has been defined by that experience.
Wow.
You know, that, I mean, I faced that. I'm sure I can face anything. You know, and that's the most powerful thing that you have. Each human being has got that. Is the power of your mind. And that is always important, to choose to think correctly, to think positively, to have a positive attitude towards whatever it
you're
is,
facing.
even as a preventative measure. Because if you are always sulking, if you are always complaining, if you are always bitter, if you are always seeing enemies all over the place, it's going to affect your physiology. It's going to affect your body, and you become stressed, tense, and your immune system will go down. And so you are now a playground for infections, for diseases, and whatnot. So your mind is the most powerful thing that you can ever have. I don't know how I can emphasize that this is your number one weapon in anything, your mind. And I think people are underutilizing.
I also believe that.
Yeah,
I also believe that. Thank you so much for that. So you spoke about it changed also your lifestyle. You now adapted a healthy lifestyle. Can you just give us tips? What is a healthy lifestyle if we really want to find ourselves healthy? What is it that we need to do?
Interesting question. But let me begin with my experience when this diagnosis came along and I decided to consult with all these people. The natural health people that I consulted made it very clear to me that, of course, I think my mindset needs to be in the right place, and that what I eat, my nutrition, now needed to be more carefully considered. And they asked me about my diet. I told them what I ate, and then they said, as far as they were concerned, things like meat, the normal commercial beef that we buy from the shops. They said there are growing challenges from that, in the sense that these animals are fed with hormones, with steroids, and whatnot, so that they can grow quickly. And for my particular case, my prostate cancer is a hormonal cancer. And so if I eat these things in large quantities, or if I eat them at all, who knows? I'm actually feeding the cancer cells, and then I'm giving them the chance to actually make life difficult for me, or even to terminate my life. So I stopped eating beef. Same with chicken, because that commercial chicken also same problem. And for my protein, I focused on beans, which is still my number one source of protein, and fish as well. Lots of vegetables, lots of fruits. Of course, although the fruits and vegetables you eat these days also are not sufficient, because you now buy them from the shops. Sometimes when they're still green, because there's green harvesting now, because of billions of people that these farmers have to feed. They are now harvesting fruits when they are still green. So you go to the shop and buy bananas. Green. But any fruit that you eat, for it to give you the full nutrients that it's supposed to give your body, you have to pluck it from the tree when it is ripe. So there's all that deficiency. And so to fill that space in, I've become completely convinced since then, and I continue to live my life in that way, that I supplement. I supplement my health, and it has paid big dividends for me. And I believe I'm sitting here talking to you now because I've chosen, the right kind of diet that helps my body to fight for itself. And of course, things like exercise, very good. My doctor told me that 50% of your health is also dependent on your exercising. So food, yes, nutrition, absolutely, and of course, as I said, supplementation, and of course, the different kinds of supplements on the market here. millions of them, thousands of them. And so you obviously have to know as well and choose the right kind of
Supplement for yourself.
supplements. So that's something I'm very particular about, and which I believe counts for my health.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. That was powerful.
Yes.
Can you just show us your book so that people
Yeah, it's my book.
Winning Attitude.
Winning Attitudes in the Face of Adversity.
Yes. So we just want to know, if one wants this book, where can we get it? How can we access this book?
There are quite a few platforms. You can get the book on Amazon.
Okay.
You can get the book from Take a Lot.
Okay.
As well. If you search for it, Winning Attitudes in the Face of Adversity.
Okay.
If you just say Winning Attitudes, there's some other stuff will come out as well. But
okay.
It's Winning Attitudes in the Face of Adversity.
Okay.
Because we're talking about adversities in life,
yes.
things that come as challenges in our lives, which all of us have. All experience challenges.
Yes.
And then you need winning attitudes to be able to deal with those challenges effectively.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I will also promote this book because I've read it a number of times.
Thank you.
And I have also told the people that I coach that, whatever they expect, even if it's your doctor, it has been your teacher, it has been your mother, whoever person in authority has told you something about you. For example, you were told that you were going to die by an expert. The expert voice is not as powerful as your voice.
No.
Your voice is to be more powerful.
It's a choice that you make.
It's
a choice that you make.
You can agree or disagree.
Yeah. And in fact, one thing that I might say, maybe in closing as we finish our discussion, is the importance of realizing that as a person, as an individual, as a human being, you are God's highest form of creation. And that in fact God designed us to be bigger than our problems or challenges. And that in fact one of the chapters in my book says, I am much bigger than my problems. Yes. And I think it's a good way of thinking, of looking at life in your situation. Problems will always come, but
we are
see yourself
bigger.
as bigger than your problems. Because for me, initially, I was looking at this cancer as if it was a big monster coming down to devour me, and I was shrinking smaller and smaller, scared. But when I decided to change that picture and became decided to be bigger than the cancer, it paid off.
Wow.
Because I became more and more confident.
Yeah.
And it helped me to survive the cancer and also to be here today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for going through that journey. It was your biggest challenge, biggest obstacle, but it also gave you the biggest lesson in life.
It did.
Wow. Thank you. We really appreciate your contribution. I hope that people are inspired and motivated, knowing that the first thing in life is the right mindset and getting information and having a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pasi.
My pleasure.